So, Shaun, let me run something by you here. I said to Teague, we started the show obviously talking about the game last night, which was a surprise. At least for me, it wasn't. Teague. We both picked the Cardinals. I actually picked the Cardinals by a pretty sizable margin, so we were both wrong. I actually, for whatever reason, as much as we focus on quarterbacks, we are just uber locked into quarterbacks. I feel like Kyler Murray, I don't know, he escapes a little level of criticism that other quarterbacks do not, whether it's Baker, whether it's Lamar, hell, even if it's Brady or Rodgers. Am I wrong? I just feel like he's in a little bit of a bubble and he's just not quite, prodded and poked at as much as the other quarterbacks are. Am I wrong?
I would agree with that, but I think it's more organizational than it is player-based. For whatever reason, Arizona just always seems to stay on the periphery of the national conversation. Even when they were undefeated, they didn't lead all of the national NFL shows. They got to them at some point, but it wasn't like, oh, my God, Green Bay's undefeated. Oh, my God, Dallas is undefeated. Oh, my God, Brady and the Bucs are going to repeat. It was, okay, Dallas looked great, the Bucs looked great, and also out in Arizona, So I just think the organization still hasn't found a way to captivate the national media, and because of that, and he's not talked about as much, I think he avoids some of the criticism. But I said this last night, they're going to have to figure out how to operate consistently on offense within the structure of the scheme.
Yeah.
You can't get in the playoffs and all of your explosive plays are because Kyler's running around 3-4 different directions and throws a deep ball, and DeAndre makes a contested catch. That's just not sustainable. So it's his next step in becoming a consistently elite quarterback is learning how to get the ball, deliver the ball in rhythm from the pocket. They don't do that enough currently, in my opinion, to be a threat this year to win it all.
Just to explain what Shaun is saying, it's not just, off schedule, big plays that happen because someone's coverage breaks down, a linebacker covering whoever, A.J. Green, all of a sudden he's running wide open, you got a huge play. It's taking a 3-step drop, getting a slant out. It's getting a dig in 5-step, or you run an over route and you hit it over top of the linebacker that's sinking. Like simple things that sound simple, but actually they don't execute well at all. So is part of this on Cliff Kingsbury, you think? I mean, we questioned him early, but the success this year has kind of tamped down some of that. Can he make it in the NFL as a head coach? How much of this is on the head coach and play caller, really?
Well, I think it's a process. Arizona didn't come in the year with a lot of expectations, at least not to this level. Right now they're tied for the best record in the NFC. I know the loss knocked them to third if the playoffs started now, but when you're having that kind of success, and to me, the analogy is Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. I'm sure there are a lot of times that Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy wanted to pull Patrick to the side and say, hey, eventually this is going to catch up with us and be an issue. But because they were winning, it's very difficult, to first of all get a player of that caliber to listen, and secondly, make those changes on the fly. So even though Arizona hasn't manifested the success in the playoffs, I think that's what Kingsbury and that staff are going through. How do we rein Kyler in a little bit while we're still winning doing it?
I think you're right about that.
So we're talking to Shaun King, former NFL quarterback. He won a championship in Tampa. A great collegiate player, obviously, Tulane. He's got the show, The Nightcap, on VSiN Network, and he's out there in Vegas with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio.
Shaun, our second conversation was without Urban Meyer, and I bring this up specifically because you coached under Charlie Strong when you were both at USF, and the report is that the coach in waiting could be Coach Strong. How are you viewing that situation? Because we know how this works. If an owner ultimately comes to the decision that he's moving on, it's better to do it sooner rather than later, just so you get a head start, so to speak. I know they delayed the interviewing process a little bit. It's not going to be as on top of the playoffs as it has been in previous years. But what about Charlie Strong filling in for that role, and how do you read this Urban Meyer situation?
Well, this is fascinating, and if the NFL really was on top of it, they would have did the reality show during the season, not in Indy, but in Jacksonville.
That's a great point.
This has got to be must-watch TV. I just mean to hear Urban say, you know what, you guys are a bunch of losers. Stand up and tell me why you're a winner. That's just got to be fascinating to watch it unfold in real time. But here's what's happening, in my opinion, Jacksonville. Urban's trying to get fired. but the owner's not falling for it. I mean, Mr. Khan is like, if I fire you, I got to pay you. I haven't figured out how to fire you with cars yet, but you keep it up, Urban. I'm digging, and I'm searching. And Urban's like, I'm going to make this thing so uncomfortable, they're just going to they're just going to cut their losses and say, okay, we're going to move on. I don't know how it's going to play out. We'll see. I know one thing about Charlie Strong. I call him Corporate Charlie. He's going to be beloved, by all of the players because he's just a genuinely good dude. He's a guy that avoids conflict, confrontation, if at all possible. He's not one of those aggressive head coaches that talks down to his staff or to his players. He tries to find ways to mediate situations amicably. And if you have a tyrant in your organization, obviously Urban Meyer's a tyrant, and then you have Charlie Strong, who's the polar opposite, I can see why they're gravitating to someone that, okay, we just want to be able to come to work and not feel like, we got to have our left and right jab ready at all times as we walk down the hall.
No, that's no good. How concerned? We only got a minute and a half here, Shaun. How concerned should we be about Trevor Lawrence's development? Because he's looked bad, dude.
Well, you should be concerned about all of those guys that went in the top 5. I came on your show and said that Kyle Wilson was overrated and shouldn't have been drafted that high, and I thought he would not live up to those expectations. And the whole city of New York that wears green and white tried to kill me on Twitter. And right now he sits 6 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Trey Lance ain't even getting on the field. Trevor Lawrence, I think, has played 13 games, only thrown. He hadn't been productive at all. And the guy that I said before the draft, Mac Jones, don't tell me about the organization he went to. The eye test tells you he's the best quarterback. And here's what's so sad for the 49ers. They could have Kyle Pitts right now opposite of George Kittle's, or Michael Parsons coming off the edge, or Patrick Surtain at one of those corner positions. Like, when you make these mistakes on these quarterbacks early, it really, really kills you. And so I'm disappointed in Trevor, disappointed in Kyle, disappointed in Trey, not because they haven't had consistent success. I don't even think you can make a highlight film of the year right now with any of the 3.
I don't disagree with that. Hopefully that's going to change, but I don't think you're off point on that. Shaun, appreciate you, buddy. Hopefully you feel a little bit better. Hopefully you're rounded a form, dude. Thank you.
And blessings to you guys as you move to the other situation. Please don't forget about me. I love coming on. And you guys enjoy your holidays. Tell your families and everyone. The King family said we love you all.
What a good guy, man.
Appreciate you, Shaun.
Thank
you
you
you're going to be part of our rotation.
That's right. We're going to get you. I'm going to have the Jet fans really get at you when you start saying that stuff about Zach Wilson. Watch. I'm going to bring you into the trap.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.